So I've been busy recently working on a couple new little projects, something that's completely new to me that I wanted to learn and wanted to try, and that is making my own session skate sim maps. Now I have briefly dabbled in map making before. I made a map for Skater XL probably 2-3 years ago now, and it was the first time I'd ever used Unity. I think it's like lost forever now. I don't even know where the file is, but I wanted to try and learn how to use Unreal Engine. I wanted to learn how to use Blender, and I'm going to show you guys a couple examples of what I've been working on. So this first map, this is my first attempt at making a map. First ever time using Unreal Engine. At this point, this is completely all made within the Unreal Engine. That there's no Blender or anything. There is more to show you than this, but this is a little spawn area. I have moved on to like a bigger, better map that I'm focusing more time on, which I will show you guys after this. But yeah, we just have this little mini ramp here. It's always fun to have a mini ramp in a map. If you can fit one in, it's always nice just to have a little mini ramp. You can actually do some pretty cool stuff on this. Oh, that was actually kind of cool. So we'll head up here. Man, I haven't actually played this map in a while because I've been working on my other one. But we have this entire section here. So basically like I guess like an office kind of car park is the best way I can explain the setup. I just completely came up with this on the fly as I was just learning how to use Unreal Engine. There's a lot of like free assets and stuff out there, so you don't have to like model everything yourself. Although since been learning Blender and have actually quite enjoyed modeling things myself, you'll see that in my other map I've used less assets and I've kind of modeled most of it myself. But yeah, we have this nice little handrail here, and we also have a little sloppy kind of ledge here. You just gotta kind of hit it at the right angle. Nice little tail slide, and then it's also good for hitting this way, ollie over the wall, and then hit this. Get a little mani on that. It's pretty nice. It is a very small map, but you know, this was my first ever attempt. I might expand on it, although I definitely feel like it's not really about the size of the map. It's more about the spots and what you have in it, you know. And I'm kind of a sucker for wanting to put a lot of detail into my maps, but I like things to look believable. I want it to look like an actual place instead of just like kind of a weird liminal space, and it's hard to do that, I think, but I'm kind of learning to make things look more natural. We also have these handrails that are pretty fun. They're not the best, but they're fun to skate. A little crook there. I also have it set so that it vibrates every time you go over these like little metal kind of textures. I think it's pretty cool. Adds a little bit more kind of realism, I guess, although it also vibrates when you just walk over it, which is kind of funny. This is one of my favorite little things here. This electrical box to the cellar door outside the Slush Cult shop, I guess, or the Slush Cult offices. I'm pretty happy with that decal. It looks pretty cool. And we also have some guys here hanging out in the bins, which, yeah, this is what I mean about I'm a bit of a sucker for detail. It's so unnecessary. There's really no reason to have those there, but I like the extra little detail and stuff. So we have these little pole jams here. I always love a pole jam as well, although it's kind of hard to get lined up. But you can pull, if you actually skate it correctly, you can pole jam like onto the handrail, like that. It's maybe a bit of a tight squeeze. There we go, kind of worked. Let's see if we can get something good. There we go, that was pretty nice. So like a little pole jam, crook, flip out. Very nice. We got this ledge here and a tiny little stair set. And we have this little Euro gap here where the fence has been broken down. So let's try and get a line. Very nice. It's really nice to kind of hit the ledge into the bank. But we also have this little DIY section. So if we just hit this gap here, we have this entire little DIY spot, which, yeah, I didn't really know what else to do with the map, so I just figured I'd add a little DIY spot, which is pretty cool. So this is really fun for lines. You can hit the ledge, and then you have a little gap here. Hit the bank, come back around, hit the ledge again. I really like this mani pad here as well, so we got this cool little like mani pad ledge setup. So you can do some combos. Let's actually try and land something here. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite spots on the map. Nice. So yeah, this was my first ever attempt at making a map, and you know what, I'm pretty happy with it. I think that it's not that bad. Obviously, you know, it's pretty amateur looking, I think, for the most part, but I'm happy enough with how it turned out. I will definitely give this another little go over, polish it a little more before I eventually give it out to you guys. And now we're going to load into my second ever Sessionsgate sim map, but there was a few variations to get here. So this next map you're going to see is after a lot of weeks of learning more of the ins and outs of Unreal Engine and things like that. So it is definitely a big improvement on this one. I think so anyway, but you guys can be the judge yourself. So let's head over to this other map. Okay, so here we are, and you can see that this one is already a lot bigger. Basically, my plan was to recreate spots around Dublin, and this has a few recreations that you might recognize if you're from here and you're a skater from here, but it ended up pretty much evolving into just its own kind of little town with just a bunch of completely made up spots that I just wanted to build. So all the buildings I've modeled myself, you can probably tell because they're kind of basic looking buildings. There is supposed to be water here. My plan is to have this all water, but I haven't figured out how to actually have water load into the game yet. Every time I put water here, it doesn't load into the game for some reason. So any people who know Unreal Engine out there, if you could tell me how I can get the water to actually load in, that would be nice, because there's nothing here right now. I'll go through some of the spots that are based off Dublin spots. So this entire stretch is based off the Epic Center in Dublin. I'm going to put up a photo here so you guys can see the comparison. This is a really nice spot with a bunch of marble benches, and I tried to model the benches kind of as close as I could to the real life thing. These ledges here are based off little curved ledges in Dunleary, and then this is based off some mani pads outside the convention center, which is very close to the DIY spot that I normally skate at. So that's kind of all the main Dublin influences, and I think I recreated this spot kind of well. I think it looks very similar. Yeah, and then the rest is complete improvisation, but I'm really happy with some of these spots. I think it's really cool. This spot in particular is really nice. It's just a little like cellar door spot with a little stop sign, and everything here I completely modeled myself. So I modeled this entire spot in Blender, you know, and you can see the markings of where people skated, because like I said, I love detail. That was pretty nice. You have this little kind of cellar door thing here as well. It doesn't really skate that well. I think it's too small, but I do like to use it for this. So you can get up here in this section, then access this roof, try and get this without hitting the wall. There we go. And then we have this little kind of gap to ledge. Okay, I'll take that. I really like these little kind of ramps that I made. I kind of textured a little street sign. I guess it's kind of like a cellar door, like a manhole kind of thing. And then we have the board there as well. So you can gap onto these little things here that I completely forgot the name of. What would you call this? What is this? But it's supposed to go out onto water. But I really like this little spot because it's just cool. Because when the water actually gets added, you know, it's gonna look really nice to grind that ledge over the water. And again, like, I modeled all this myself in Blender to make it all look kind of broken and stuff, and I think it looks pretty nice. You can just grind around the curve really cleanly. I really like board sliding them. I think that's really fun. I just think they skate really well. I think that's really cool. And then we have like a little DIY section here. I wanted to have like a little bit of kind of a curved bank, and yeah, it actually skates very smoothly. And then we got this little like DIY ledge here that's pretty nice to skate if we can actually land something on it. We'll also put a little flat bar here as well, which currently makes the wrong sound. It makes a concrete sound, but I will update that. These maps are far from finished. Like, I still have a lot of work to put into them because I really want them to kind of be the most polished that they could possibly be before I actually release them. Nice little kickflip back lip. And then I got these kind of like big brick ledges over here. Nice kickflip back 50, and then you can go down here. And then you can also gap all the way over down to here, which is pretty fun. And because I just can't stop adding extra little kind of spots, there's also this roof gap. Yeah, I like that spot a lot, actually. that was pretty cool. And that brings us right up here to, of course, another Slush Call store. I gotta represent the sponsor. I also have some little pictures of an upcoming drop that is an iJet. You can also see that that's actually Skitter XL, so I also snuck in some Skitter XL in Session Skating, which is just kind of funny, I guess. Let's actually try and land something on this. There we go. Nice little tail slide. Mani pad here, which comes to a gap at the end. And now down this little alleyway is a very simple spot, but it skids so nicely. So just get a nice trick into the bank and then a trick over into the street. A little impossible there. And other than that, there's a few ledges and things kind of darted about. But overall, I'm pretty stoked on this one. I think it's definitely come a long way from my first map. It is going to look so much better when it is actually finished. There's still a lot of work to be done. But that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to show off the maps that I've been working on because these things have been keeping me busy. And it's really fun to be on kind of the other end of Session Skate Sim in terms of actually making the maps as opposed to just playing other people's maps. So it's cool to do this. I'll maybe roll out some early versions to playtest for my YouTube members, and then I'm going to release this exclusively on my Discord. But let me know if you guys can think of anything that I can add to these. Maybe there's some improvements here and there. Somebody let me know how the hell I get water to load into the game, because it would look so nice with water around here. But I'm going to continue to work on these for a while, and once they're ready to go, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.